fourth race weekend of the FIA WTCR is at the Circuit Park Zandvoort in the Netherlands, close to the Dutch North Sea coast. Nestled in the sand dunes, it was once the home of the Dutch Grand Prix, but since 1985, Formula One cars have not raced here. That will change in 2020 as F1 returns. But first, it's the third visit for the FIA Touring Car Championship at a world level. First with World Touring Cars, and now the second time for FIA WTCR. For Andy Priaulx, it's a welcome return to a track where he spent much time practicing, and he qualifies third fastest, his best showing so far for Lynk & Co. As the first practice session got underway, the cars would need first to clean the sand off the track nestled in the dunes. While the Lynk & Co cars run by Cyan Racing were comprehensively dominating in qualifying. Andy Priaulx, a track where the RBM BMWs are used to racing World Touring Cars, tested very frequently on top form, third fastest. Yvan Muller struggling for form so far this year. Last year's championship runner-up finished in second place in the first qualifying session, showing that he has not lost his touch, nor has his teammate Ted Bjerke. The 2017 World Touring Car Champion used a stellar lap to grab pole position, leading a Lynk & Co 1, 2, 3, 4, the ideal place from which he could try and claim his second win of the season, with Lynk & Co putting their horrendous Slovakia race weekend behind them. Well, after qualifying, organisers decided that Lynk & Co had been given a little bit too much in the balance of performance, so their engine power was knocked back to 97.5% from 100, and they had their weight reinstated. They were, however, still going to be comprehensively more competitive than in Slovakia. Benny Leuchter in fifth position on the grid, and Mikel Ascona in fourth place, because Jan Erlache, who had qualified fourth, picked up a 5-place grid drop and he would start down in ninth. Andy Priaulx, though, in the top three before the start of the first race on a bright and warm sunny afternoon on Saturday. Yvan Muller on the outside of the front row, but it was his teammate Ted Bjerke who would start from pole position for the first race of the weekend. Well, with Lynk & Co at the front of the field, but being chased by the car of Mikel Ascona and the VW of Benny Leuchter, it was not necessarily going to be an all-blue parade, and Ascona showed that right from the start, diving inside Andy Priaulx for second place, as around the outside the 14 Golf of Johan Christoffersen also went by the Guernseyman. 1-2 though, Ted Bjerke and Yvan Muller. Bjerke had done what he needed to do, getting ahead of Muller into the first corner and leaving the Frenchman to deal with the pursuing pack. Norbert Mikelitz well up in the top 10, and so too Esteban Guerrieri. Guerrieri coming in here just 2 points behind his teammates Nestor Girolami in the lead of the championship. Girolami qualified only 18th, pushing his way up early on to try and get into the points. Meanwhile, Priaulx fending his way back past the Golf of Christoffersen. This is the view from Benny Leuchter right behind the two Golfs running nose to tail. Looking back at Esteban Guerrieri, Daniel Hegloff chasing him. Guerrieri in the battle with Norbert Mikelitz, the number 5 machine. Norbert complaining of lack of grip and vibration. Clearly one of the tyres was not going well for him. Wouldn't be long before he would be heading into the pit lane. Aurelien Panis battling with Nestor Girolami just outside the points. Girolami needing to score here with teammate Guerrieri up already in the top dozen. Looking strong out front still, the two Cyan Racing cars. Then the Golfs giving chase. And Christoffersen already harassing Priaulx, Jan Erlache right behind, trying to close in.
I will get the puncture in a couple of laps. I have very big vibration on the left front. Absolutely no grip.
Battles down the order. Gordon Shedden trying to move up towards the points. The Audis struggling here for pace on a track perhaps that should suit them. But after a good weekend in Slovakia, they have gained a little bit too much weight. Ted Björk still leading from Ivan Muller.
Would be nice if Ted can push a bit. I think he's on the limit, but I'll see if he can go a bit. Okay, we tell them. We tell him.
The problem is, Ted, with Ivan behind him, doesn't want to go too fast in case they, again, stymie their balance of performance. So Ivan is just going to have to defend against Oscaro. As Mikulits comes into the pits, he's not alone. Augusto Farfus in because he's lost the nose splitter on the car, running wide out of the final corner. Ari Lindau bombed and bouncing over the grass, shedding bits of bodywork as he went. Meanwhile, battle for fourth place, Andy Prio 1:11, Johan Kristoffersson, and right behind him, Mehdi Benani. Alache in seventh place behind the Moroccan, has squeezed by the other goal for Benny Loister, and Mikel Ascona looking all the way through to the checkered flag to try and find a way by Ivan Muller. Muller very good at responding under pressure. Last lap, Andy Prio, though, getting jumped by Kristoffersson. The Swede got the drive he needed to go by the Guernseyman. And up into fourth place he went. Best result of the season for the double World Rallycross champion. Second win of the year for Ted Björk. Ivan Muller taking second, Mikel Ascona, another podium finish for he and PWR. Kristoffersson, Prio and Benani across the line, ahead of Jan Alache in seventh position. So all four Lynk & Co cars in the top four, and their first 1-2 as a touring car manufacturer. So Ted Björk victorious, Cyan Racing getting all their cars into the top 7 positions. 3 goals in the top 10, but only 1 Audi. That's of Frederik Verwisch and Nicky Katzberg, the top Dutch driver, in 10th position in his Hyundai, the only Hyundai in the top 10. Ascona, the only Cupra to make it up there as well. Jean-Carl Vernet, not always the best of the Audis, it would seem, but Esteban Guerrieri, the better of the 2 Munich Motorsport Honda drivers, now the overnight championship leader. Sunday, and the 3-part qualifying featured 3 of the Lynk & Co cars. Norbert Mikulits went first, had a good time. Ivan Muller ended up with a stunning lap, however a little too stunning it would seem. The Frenchman pushing hard. Norbert Mikulits the first man out, and his Hyundai the only one that made it through into the top 5. I beg your pardon, it wasn't one of 2 that made it through into the top 5. Ted Björk putting in a good strong lap as well in his Lynk & Co. The race 1 winner hoping to finish on pole position. But in the end, it was Ivan Muller who had the fastest lap of them all. Björk in second, Jan Alache giving chase. Jan Alache ending up second ahead of Björk. Muller fastest of all, but his car was over boosting, and so he ended up losing that pole position and being dropped down to 5th place on the grid for race 3, pushed up from 10th to 6th for race 2. Meanwhile, Formula 1 Red Bull demos with Max Verstappen and Pierre Gasly keeping the crowd entertained. Race 2, FIA WTCR in Zandvoort under the watchful eyes of Pierre Gasly and Max Verstappen, and 100,000 fans coming out to the Jumbo race days. Packing the seaside dunes at Zandvoort in the Netherlands and watching the cars line up for the first of the day's 2 races. On pole position, Esteban Guerrieri, the top 10 from qualifying, reversed, and with just a 0.004 of a second advantage over his teammate Nesta Girolami, who starts 11th. Guerrieri certainly had the rub of the green. Alongside him, Benny Leuchter, best qualifying position for him of the season, and a chance to finish on the podium. Johan Kristoffersen, his teammate, lining up in 3rd position, also hungrily eyeing a podium. Behind him, though, the whole of the rest of the field, all of whom would all like to go further up the order. Again, a good start for Guerrieri, not so fast away for Benny Leuchter, and that holds up Nicky Katzberg in 4th place, allowing Kristoffersen to tuck into 3rd. Katzberg looking down the inside, Kristoffersen getting the door shut nice and early. Ascona getting a bump from Ivan Muller. Outside he goes, and Muller moves up to 5th position in turn 1. He had enough of Ascona in race 1, didn't want to be watching the Spaniard. Behind him is Augusto Farfus and Norbert Mikulits for Hyundai, and then 2 more blue machines, Ted Björk and Jan Erlache for Lynk & Co. Well, Muller's penalty moved him from 10th on the race 1 grid up to 6th at the start, and he took advantage of it, actually using the penalty to help him score more points. But that will undo itself perhaps in the final race of the weekend, although the last race will be longer, allowing more chance to get back to the front. For the moment, though, Esteban Guerrieri, the leader, with the Honda ahead of 2 Golfs. When teammate Nesta Girolami a little further down outside the top 10. Vital day for Guerrieri to score big points. First of all, though, they'll have to deal with a safety car. Attila Tashi going off on the outside early on. On board with Tom Coronel, shows cold tyres on Tashi's car. The back end breaks away as they go over the brow. Coronel couldn't avoid making contact, but it wasn't the contact that put Tashi off. It was losing the car on those cold tyres. A stiff North Sea breeze blowing down the front straight, giving them a little bit more grip into Tarzan, but making it a pretty brisk day for the fans. 2 laps of safety car, they go green again. Esteban Guerrieri leading from the 2 Golfs. 88 Nicky Katzberg, the best Dutch driver of the weekend. Here's compatriots Niels Lagerfeld and Tom Coronel, stuck way down in the 20s after qualifying. Mehdi Banani qualified strongly on Saturday, but like Andy Prio, not so on Sunday. And so as a result, he was down the order. Ivan Muller, big grass tracking moment. The multiple ice racing champion kept his foot buried and drove through it. But it shows how little runoff area there is at Circuits Zandvoort. This is going to be very entertaining for Formula 1 cars. Looking back at Nesta Girolami, trying to fight his way into the points. Ivan Muller in front of him. Ivan in 8th position, Girolami in the top 10. Norbert Mikulits unable to keep the pace of the front runners. Nicky Katzberg making it a breakaway of 4 out front, though. Esteban Guerrieri midway through the race, the Honda driver still under threat from the Volkswagens, but Benny Leuchter at no stage had been able to actually put in a pass. Girolami stuck behind Muller, and with Rob Huff for company, the 2012 world champion on one end, and Girolami chasing a 4-time world champion out front. Pressure for the Argentine. Muller struggling to keep the Argentine at bay as teammate Guerrieri led out front. After 3 strong race weekends already for the Munich Motorsport Hondas, they hadn't necessarily expected to be on the pace here, but a chance of a win never goes begging, and Guerrieri snaffled the 25 points ahead of Benny Leusner and Johan Kristoffersen, with Katzberg in 4th ahead of Mikel Ascona again, faring well. It's a big result for Esteban Guerrieri, taking the lead of the championship in race 1 and extending his advantage over his teammate in race 2.
It has to go in your side to score good points, and we have it today, so happy. Good job for the Volkswagen guys. I think the second guy, Leusner, has some problem with the lights because he was flashing all the time.
Guerrieri delighted with victory and humorous with it. Benny Leusner flashing the headlights all the way through the race did not distract the Argentine. Takes a little bit more than that, but the Golfs 2-3, their best result of the season. Katzberg, Ascona again, and Farfus, the top half dozen. Norbert Michelis in 7th position. Just outside the top 10, Rob Huff 11th, Ted Björk in 12th, with 1 race still to go.
If I'm looking back 4 to 6 weeks, it felt like a big victory today. 2 goals on the podium. I mean, yeah, the guys did an amazing job since Marrakesh, since we recognized that we really have to work harder. And yeah, just thank you to the whole team. Car was really, really good today. I think, yeah, the pace was there to win.
As well as Formula 1 drivers Max Verstappen and Pierre Gasly, the president of the FIA, Jean Todt, was on the grid, meeting and greeting the drivers and promoting the 2020 Dutch Grand Prix. Well, Jan Erlaché promoted to 2nd on the grid after Ivan Muller got dropped back in qualifying, to pole position after Ivan Muller got dropped back in qualifying. Alongside him, 2nd on the grid, Ted Björk, the race 1 winner. Looked a bit like being another good race for Lynk & Co. Norbert Michelis in 3rd place, a better weekend for Hyundai. Not one Hyundai driver scored even a single point in Zandvoort last year after their emergency balance of performance change. Away they go for the 3rd and final time. Jan Erlaché not as quick away as Ted Björk, weaves across the track, hits his teammate almost into the pit wall. Björk takes the lead into turn 1, Erlaché in 2nd, and then the first of the Hyundais in 3rd and 4th. Dust being kicked up further back. Ivan Muller in 5th position. Andy Priaulx, the man out of bed in qualifying, had 3rd fastest lap on Saturday, couldn't find that pace again on Sunday in traffic. Nicky Katzberg trying to find a way past Esteban Guerrieri. Guerrieri defending hard every single point now. Guerrieri will cling tenaciously to. Katzberg, top Dutchman. Long queue of cars drawing out behind the race-leading Cyan Racing Lynk & Co's. So Ted Björk with the lead. And then Augusto Farfus 3rd, ahead of Norbert Michelis.
Front positions on the main straight. Front positions on the main straight, please.
Remarkably, Ted Björk, who'd taken the lead straightforwardly, was told to hand it to his teammate Jan Erlaché. A remarkable and puzzling decision. Erlaché had fluffed the start, so clearly there had been some pre-race agreement that where you started would be where you finished, but that doesn't really help if the man on pole doesn't get away well. And that was just the start of the confusion for Lynk & Co. Battles further back, with Nesta Girolami and Mehdi Banani squabbling. They were just in the points. Girolami, like his teammate, desperate for every single position. 15th place, 1 point better than none. El Aché out front, but more messages coming from the pit wall.
Okay, Jan, we've been asked to swap back on the next lap because the opinion here is you pulled across too early. Talk to me on the lap, and that's what we've been asked. Hey, Vincent, I have the weakest engine of everybody. Of course, if we do a drag race, I lose. I have the weakest engine of everybody. I'm already penalized like hell by this. You should think about that. It's the second time now this season I'm because of the engine.
Well, the problem for El Aché is that he may not have the strongest engine in the pack, and at the start, that does not help. Christian Dahl in the back there, the man who was charged with making these decisions. Ronnie Hartfeld, who normally would, was engineering Ted Bjerg for the weekend. Bjerg given the position back. Clearly, El Aché was not chuffed with that, not chuffed with the fact that Bjerg had the lead in the first place, courtesy of the better start. And it wasn't the only family member who was on the radio. Ivan Muller also gave his two penneth in the battle over the radio waves. On the track, the final Lincoln Co car, Andy Preo battling with Fredrik Vervish for 16th position, neither in the points. Vervish, one of our race winners a week earlier in Slovakia. But Preo, who was in the bottom reaches of the top 20 in Slovakia, enjoying better favour on day one. Nicky Katzberg and Rob Huff running wheel to wheel for 10th position through most of a lap. And finally Huff getting his nose in front for 10th. But a decent weekend for Hyundai and for Katzberg. A better weekend though for Ted Bjerg, the race 1 winner, claiming victory in race 2 ahead of a very displeased Jan El Aché. Third place would have been Augusto Farfus, but he rolled off the throttle to allow Norbert Mikkelits through. Farfus with no championship aspirations, but Mikkelits with a shot, and the team asked his Brazilian teammate if he would hand the place over, which he did willingly. Ted Bjerg, Jan El Aché and Norbert Mikkelits the top through 3. Farfus, Muller and again Ascona in the top 6. In the top 6 in all 3 races, Mikel Ascona. And only Ted Bjerg and Ivan Muller could claim that. Nicky Katzberg 11th in the final race, but still the top Dutchman. So Ted Bjerg, the only one of the Lincoln Co cars that found much pace in Slovakia. And Christian Dahl immediately going to commiserate with El Aché. A second win for Bjerg.
Perfect start, and Jan also thought he had a perfect start, and he wanted to be first into the first corner, but I was there, so it was not possible for him to do that. And yeah, I took it. But I'm also aggressive, and I was the same aggressive when I was Jan's age. So you know, it's if you're a race driver, you're a race driver. You want to win. Everybody out in the starting field wants to win. That's why we're here for. So I understand.
Norbert Mikkelits as well for the Hyundai team.
Say, huge congrats to Augusto, because today I think he deserved to be on the podium, but it was a team decision to swap the places. Thanks to the team for that. Of course, I think every point counts at the end of the season. We will see.
Well, every point definitely will count. And if anybody can pour oil over troubled waters, Ted Bjerg is your man. Chantal presenting the winner with his trophy. At the end of a successful Zandvoort weekend for Lincoln Co and especially for Ted Bjerg. Moving up to second in the championship ahead of Nesta Girolami, with Esteban Guerrieri the narrow points leader. Suddenly what was a yawning gap is down to just 11 points. Guerrieri over Bjerg. Girolami is the man who came here with the points lead and now slips behind, some 27 points back. Norbert Mikkelits in 4th ahead of Mikel Ascona, the young rookie in 5th position. Ascona won at Zandvoort in TCR Europe last year, didn't win this year, but sure proved once again that he is a new star in the making. All in Munich Motorsport still the points leaders from Sign Racing, Link & Co, but the gap again is coming down slowly. Race weekend number 4 completed, and now there are a couple of weekends for the teams to lick their wounds before they head to the Nordschleife of the Nürburgring for the next encounter. And if ever there was a different track, that will be it. How will the Link & Co cars go? Only time will tell. We'll see you then for race 5 weekend of the FIA WTCR.